everyone, welcome back to Fully Equipped. Kris and Wadeh joined by Dwayne Anderson, and today we are out at the TaylorMade Kingdom in Carlsbad, California. And Dwayne is going to take us through a driver fitting with the new Qi35. So Dwayne, these things look awesome. And having worked together previously, I know you have a tall order ahead of you fitting him for a driver. But
I don't know.
I have faith in your skill, so I'm going to turn it over to you and kind of give us an overview of what we're going to be taking a look at today.
Perfect. So we're going to start, basically, the way I like to start any kind of fitting like this is try to match. I don't have your club here, so try to match that as much as we can, because we got to have some baseline. I got to have something to compare to. So set up a core 10.5. We knocked it down a click because he likes to see the face open a little bit.
Yep.
Pretty in mid profile shaft. He talked about liking something that's a little firmer butt mid and has an active tip, so that's right kind of what we put in your hands. So let's start there and have you hit a few.
Okay, Dwayne, so while he's hitting a couple of shots just to get our baseline, I know there is a big push with the Qi35 launch around fitting.
Absolutely.
And specifically matching bend profile to player profile. So walk us through kind of what you're looking at here.
So basically how this was kind of born was trying to wrap my head around the shaft wall and staring at that shaft wall and trying to figure out, okay, what's different about them? Why are they different? Who are they for? Those types of things. So over a lot of years, kind of looking at a lot of gears data and then fitting people to golf clubs, kind of this bucket started emerging in my head of swing type versus fitting into different shaft profiles.
Right.
And what it kind of comes down to is, first of all, is kind of when do we unload the shaft? And compared to parallel with the ground. So are we unloading earlier before that point? Are we unloading at parallel? Or are we holding on to that angle we set for a long time and releasing after parallel super late? And what I found is those earlier release points played better with stiff profile shafts.
Got it.
The late release, people hanging on forever and releasing late, played better with soft tip profile shafts. And middle of the road, guess what? Middle of the road.
A little mid-mid.
So that was the first step. And then, so that first step to me is kind of when do you unload the shaft, right? And then the second one is how do you release the shaft? And that's about closure rate. What I found is basically the faster the closure rate, the softer the tip that player should be playing.
You hear that, Wadeh?
What?
Faster the closure rate, softer the tip section.
That's me.
Exactly.
It's me.
Exactly.
So Wadeh has a competitive tennis background.
There you go.
His release and his hands, typically pretty fast.
Well, so one thing, during a COVID, I lost my gear system, so I had to find other ways to see this stuff. So found slow-mo video on my camera.
And just about everybody's got an iPhone.
Yeah, mine has slow-mo video though. Here's my...
Maybe.
So what I'm looking for here is on the way down, when does he unload that shaft? So we see him set his angle. Perfect. So he set the angle. Now, how long does he hold that? He's still holding it. He's still holding it. So I would call that late, after parallel. Late. And then what's neat about this year in the Qi35 is we've put these reflective markers into the face. So what's powerful about that is with a GC quad, we're able to not have to put the stickers on manually, right? So that's one benefit, is you don't have to do that. The second is we know the accuracy of where these markers are on the face is awesome, because GC quad, Foresight, they know exactly where these are on the face from a distance standpoint, instead of where we can make mistakes putting them on by hand.
100%.
So that's the first part. So this second part about the rotation value, now we get to measure it.
Okay, cool.
So all we got to do from shaft fitting profile standpoint is first understand, okay, when do you release the shaft? And you're a late release. You hang on to your angle for a long time before you unload it. Looking at your closure rate, 3,000 RPMs, right? Average is 2,400.
Okay.
2,400
Above
is average. Right? Yeah. So late release, fast rotation.
Okay.
Right? So there's a certain type of shaft that fits into that. From a profile standpoint of shaft, right now we're talking about the tip section.
Yep.
Late release says keep the tip soft. Fast rotation, 2,400 RPMs is average, you're at 3,000. So faster rotation, keep the tip soft.
Okay.
So we're gonna go into a soft profile shaft.
Okay.
Now, the good news is that I have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I've been using these.
Yep.
And you already told me you don't like to feel the shaft kicking.
Correct.
The beauty of the Ventus Red is that it is a softer profile here and here, but this has the same butt section as a black.
Okay.
So it's very stiff under here.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I'm putting this in your hand.
Okay.
Now we put it in the air, and I know one way to find out if that's a good idea or a bad idea.
So with feel being subjective to the player, how often do you find what complements? Ooh, that was a good sound.
That was dumb. That was good.
You like that?
So how
Yeah, I
often
did
do you
like
find, once you find that complement of bend profile to player profile, do you put something together, they hit it, and they go, man, I hate that?
Not very often.
Very rare.
I would say most of the time the reaction is, wow, that felt good. Because now we put a shaft profile in their hand that matches their swing tendencies, and things match up. And the reality is, once we kind of get to that point from a shaft standpoint, now I can go into the head where we have to understand as fitters, the biggest way we can affect vertical is with loft.
Right.
So the point is, I'm not fitting a shaft based on vertical. I'm fitting a shaft horizontally. I'm trying to get a shaft in your hands that matches your tendencies so we can put you in the fairway more often, knowing, oh gosh, 14 of those a day. That's all we ask.
Pretty pleased.
Pretty pleased. The reality is, I'm trying to fit shaft based on profile and swing type to get us in the fairway more often, more consistently. Now I've got massive levers in this head. Loft is the first one.
Sure.
CG location. We put these big weights that we can move a long distance to change CG location. Then I've got a loft sleeve, so I can change loft and face angle and lie angle. So the point is, I know in the head, I have such huge levers to affect ball flight. So if I can get to the shaft part first, early, now we can go through the different models and the different heads and start moving CG around and lie angle and loft and face angle and all these things. The Qi35 today has given us so many tools as fitters now to adjust these things with big levers, and it's really exciting.
That was a miss, but that wasn't a bad miss.
So let me see if we need to do some refining here.
Okay.
First thing, going to the LS, first thing I'm gonna do is put it straight up at 10.5 because I know this head spins less.
Okay.
And this is neutraled out, the weights. In the LS head, we have 3 different weights, 13 in the back, 3s in the front.
Okay.
So there's some levers. If I move this 13 there or there, but we're gonna start with them in standard.
Okay, sounds good.
And the other cool thing is try to isolate variables. Now we're isolating shaft,
Yep.
seeing what head difference does.
So just for me,
Yes,
I love looking at a more compact head.
and I heard you say that,
So
by the way.
yeah, no, I know, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
but straight
perfect.
away, like this at address
Love
to
it.
me looks,
Love
now
it.
it doesn't mean the numbers are gonna work out.
Sure.
But
And that's one of the reasons that core model Qi35 has the bigger footprint,
yep,
is that we have never hit 9,000 MOI in that core model before.
wow.
So there's a very specific reason why we did that footprint, but that is not going to be an uncommon comment, I think,
Sure.
from some players, right?
And I know, as far as start line bias, QI10 LS versus QI35 LS, QI10 had that right bias, and that was addressed in QI35 LS, correct?
A little bit. We definitely took some of the right bias out, but here, let me see that. One thing as fitters we need to understand also, it kind of started in Stealth 2.
Okay.
The lie angle on our Plus and now LS products, very flat.
Right.
Colin Morikawa and Fleetwood love seeing a flat golf club.
Yep.
And hate seeing the ball go left.
Yep.
So we got to understand that flat lie angle is going to give us some right tendency.
Sure.
So this is not uncommon in a fitting standpoint. For someone like you, I started in standard.
Yeah.
And we see that ball go
Yep.
that way. First thing I'm going to do, let me see that. And I'm going to throw it in upright.
Okay.
Brings us 2 more degrees more upright.
Sure.
And now I can give us a more neutral
Yeah.
lie angle.
Sounds good.
So just
Great
for
to know
reference, static lie on the LS this year, we had 56.
Same as last year.
Okay.
Same. They just move some weighting around to give it a little more neutral bias instead of slightly right.
Oh boy, that felt so much more powerful.
Yeah, that line angle is a big deal.
Wow.
And for those golfers that, you know, I look at it two ways. There's obviously, I work with one that hates to see the ball go left.
Yeah.
Great that flat lie angle. Or people that fight a hook, great that flat lie angle. But so just, it's great for a fitter to understand how big a deal that lie angle can be. Oh, that was best of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Me too.
But here, now we're able to give you a look that's more pleasing, that's more comfortable for you. Great.
Yep.
What I like is I'm able to give you a little more loft and keep that spin down. Loft's our friend.
Absolutely.
Give him a square club face to look at, slightly open.
Directionally, that last one was really good. He hit it slightly low in the face.
That's the best
very
of the day right
playable.
Best of the day. Yeah, we're done here.
Yeah, that was nice.
LS
111 on the
10.5
head speed there,
upright.
Wade.
But does the shaft make sense?
The shaft does make a lot of sense, and I was just saying to Chris, I've never actually hit a TR red before. Everyone usually puts me into a, what am I looking at?
283 carry.
Really?
283 carry.
At sea level? It's pretty bloody good. Yeah, so I've never hit a TR red. People usually put me into a blue, and I found the TR blue was way too stiff for me, way too boardy.
Exactly. The way approaching this shaft process is really, it's really addressing swing type, not speed. I'm not fitting you by speed.
Yeah.
The only thing about speed, club head speed, is are you R, S, or X?
Right.
But I fit someone earlier that was 109 into an S.
Yeah.
Yep.
Based on swing profile, because they needed something softer, you know. So it's really not fitting by speed. It's not fitting by, it's really swing type versus shaft type.
Makes sense. That's something that we try and communicate is understanding flex as it pertains to a brand agnostic environment with shafts specifically.
Exactly.
One company's S is another company's X is another company's R.
Exactly.
So understanding where it flexes, how it flexes as it pertains to the player is really important in a fitting environment.
You know when I'm enjoying something because I'm just freely swinging and I'm not really paying attention to what you guys are talking about.
That's perfect. We're talking nerdy over here. You just keep roping it 280 carry and no big deal. How many of those you want, Wade?
I'll take 14 so I can use one a hole.
14 a day.
Yeah, so I mean with that's a great representation of how to fit Qi35 family. Great result, quick and easy, immediate results, pulling big levers, finding the shaft, everything just comes together. And I'm gonna need strokes next time we play. Thank you guys as always for joining us. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Any questions about fitting or new Qi35 family, drop a comment below. We'll see you next time.
Peace.